Hello, my Buckeye fans out there. This is Buckeye Vinny coming to you today. Today's segment, and it's going to be a good one. It is going to be about, obviously, the Buckeyes are not playing any non-conference games. We all know that. So every game that will be played will be within the Big Ten Conference. And a new subscriber of mine, Big Baller Productions, I cannot take credit for this video today. Big Baller was the one that gave me this idea segment to do. And I truly appreciate that, Big Baller Productions. So I'm going to give him a shout out for a great video segment to do today. Everyone sit back and enjoy this one. The segment is going to be, that Big Baller Productions suggested, was covering the Big Ten opponents that the Buckeyes have to play and rating them from worst to best when it comes to Buckeyes competition with them year in and year out. So, foremost, I'm going to start and rank the number 14th team, which again would be the non-competitiveness team against the Buckeyes, would have to be Rutgers. Again, Rutgers, yes, this team plays hard, but they are no match for the Buckeyes. Again, we don't have a big history with Rutgers. Urban Meyer was 4-0 against Rutgers, and Ryan Day was 1-0. So again, there's a total of 5-0, so Rutgers would have to be 14th. Coming in at 13th would have to be Maryland Terps. For me, Urban Meyer was a perfect 5-0 against the Terps, even though Maryland did give us a scare, if you guys remember that game, in overtime. A major scare, but we ended up pulling that out. That was the 2017 season. So far I covered 14th Rutgers, 13th I covered Maryland. Coming in at number 12, I'm going to have to go with the Indiana Hoosiers. For me, again, Urban Meyer was a perfect 7-0 against Indiana. And I'm going to date back even further than this. Jimmy Tressel was 6-2 against Indiana. Earl Bruce was 8-1 against Indiana, and rounding it out, John Cooper was 9-1 against Indiana. Coming in at the 11th spot, I'm going to have to go with the Fighting Illini. We really don't play them anymore, and unfortunately, I'm just being honest with you, my friends, Fighting Illini's program, for the most part, has went downhill. Mentioning the Fighting Illini, though, under Earl Bruce was 7-2 against them. Very good. Jimmy Tressel, 6-2 against the Illini. Urban Meyer, perfect 5-0. What team didn't he go undefeated against in the Big Ten? Seriously, folks. And John Cooper, surprising. John Cooper had a losing record against the Fighting Illini. Cooper won 6 and lost 7. Moving on, coming in at the 10th spot, I'm going to have to go with Northwestern Wildcats. Now, Northwestern, obviously, a couple of years back, we played them in the Big Ten championship game, and we did defeat them. But, you know, when you mention Northwestern, they might not, on paper, have the best team in the Big Ten. Without a doubt, they don't. But that team plays very, very hard game in and game out. Coming in at number 10, I'm going to have to go with the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Urban Meyer, 3-0 against Minnesota. Earl Bruce, this jumped out at me, 8-1 against the Gophers in his career. Jimmy Tressel, a perfect 8-0 in his career. So again, you know, we've owned Minnesota without a doubt. And rounding it out, John Cooper. This really jumped out at me, my friends. 10-1 against Minnesota. Phenomenal job by Coop. Coming in at the 8th spot, I'm gonna have to go with Nebraska Cornhuskers. Again, not a big history with them. Imagine this. Urban Meyer, perfect 4-0 against Nebraska. You know, but like I said again, not a big history. Ryan Day, 1-0 against Nebraska, chalking up that burial game last year in Nebraska. We all remember that game. Coming in at the number 7 spot, I'm going to have to go with the Michigan Wolverines. Without a doubt. Yes, they're our biggest rivalry, but folks, let's be honest. In the last 19 matchups with the Wolverines, the Buckeyes are 17-2. Under Jimmy Tressel, he was 9-1. What more can I say? Under Urban Meyer, perfect 7-0. Earl Bruce, 5-4 winning record. And folks, I really don't even want to mention this, but I have to. Under John Cooper, 2-10-1 versus the team up north. Moving on. Coming in the sixth slot, I'm going to have to go with the Iowa Hawkeyes. Urban Meyer, not a big history with Iowa. He went 1-1. Jimmy Tressel versus Iowa, 5-1. Earl Bruce versus Iowa, 5-2. And here we go. Another one that jumped out at me. John Cooper versus Iowa, 9-1-1. Coming into the fifth spot, I'm going to have to go with the Purdue Boilermakers. Urban Meyer was just 2-1 against Purdue, and we all remember that nasty defeat that the Buckeyes ended up getting buried by in Iowa, 49-20. It still haunts me to this day how that ever happened, but it did. Under Jimmy Tressel, Tressel was 5-1 versus Iowa, and Earl Bruce 5-2 versus Iowa. And here we go. Folks, this is going to jump out at you again. My man, John Cooper, 9-1 versus Iowa. Coming in at the fifth spot, for me, folks, I'm going to have to go with Michigan State coming in at fourth spot. Michigan State has given the Buckeyes all they can handle from time to time. They really have. In Urban Meyer's career, he was 5-2 against Michigan State. Jimmy Tressel was a perfect 6-0 against the Spartans. Very respectful, obviously. Earl Bruce, 6-1 against the Spartans. And John Cooper, 6-3 against Michigan Spartans. Coming in at the number third spot, I'm going to have to go with the Wisconsin Badgers. The Badgers, we all know, we have a pretty decent rivalry with Wisconsin, without a doubt. Under Urban Meyer, 5-0. Here's what jumped out at me, my friends. Under Jimmy Tressel, Wisconsin gave Tressel all he could handle and some fits. Jim Tressel was only 4-4 against Wisconsin. Earl Bruce was a game under that. Earl Bruce was 4-5 against Wisconsin. And John Cooper jumped out at me. John Cooper, I tell you what, folks, he's done phenomenal against all the Big Ten except for two teams, Fighting Illini and the team up north. But against Wisconsin, he was 7-1-1. And we all know Ryan Day, a perfect 2-0 last year against Wisconsin. And my final team that is the most competitive opponent in the Big Ten against our Buckeyes is none other than Penn State. Now, under Urban Meyer was 6-1 against Penn State. But, folks, I'm just going to throw these games out, and I know you're going to remember them without a doubt. Penn State has always given us fits. We all know that. Not a big secret. Last year, 28-17, we did win in the shoe, but that game was a nail-biter. 2018, we went into Happy Valley. Yes, we won, but we were down by 14 at one point. We came back and won 27-26. 2016, they came to the shoe. We were getting blown out by at least 20. We came back. I'll never forget JT Barrett, phenomenal game. We won that game 39-38. And folks, let's remember this game I'm trying to forget about, but we have to remember it. 2015 in Happy Valley, we lost 24-21, and at the time we were undefeated in that game. So without a doubt, shout out to Penn State, giving us all kind of fits. Again, Jim Tressel, 7-3 against Penn State. Earl Bruce barely never played him. Earl Bruce faced Penn State one time and lost. So he was 0-1. And John Cooper was, yes, he had a winning record against Penn State with a 5-3 mark. And let's remember, back then when Coop played, he was going against Joe Paterno every time they would face one another. I hope everyone enjoyed this segment on the Big Ten opponents and their record versus the the Ohio State Buckeyes. Please, to all my subscribers, I thank you. For all my new-time viewers that are first time checking my segment out, please, I ask you to please subscribe. Click on my face up here. Most of all, I love you guys' comments, so please, by all means to me, please comment on my channel. Click the like button if you like this video. And like always, peace out, God bless, stay safe, go Buckeyes, let's get this football season started.